So, I was just on the Bro Sanchez show, and it was at the very end. And I want to get into frequencies here. So, diving into this. Okay, so hoping I can drop some just freestyle with this and go with some of these notes I've been putting down. It's been wicked cold out here, and I may have been kicking a cold like for like the month of January. So, but nothing crazy. Just been like dragging, working, and I haven't really had too much time to put this stuff down because I've been other obligations. But it's a good time right now. It's a full moon, so here we go, and I'm feeling much better. So, um, getting into Moses and frequencies. Frequencies, obviously, we're getting into Tesla. I want to go more into that. And eraser. So we're talking about frequencies, right? I need an eraser. So frequencies, I was talking about the free queen of the sea. So CC is constant current. We know that two C's make a circle. So the splitting of the currents is with positive and negative. Um, Queen of battle is the infantry because they make the moves on the ground. But in chess, you get queen because a pawn can get queen if you make it to the other side. So we're dealing with frequencies. Yes, it's getting better. So when we look at like the Bible, right? So I'm going to tie this into a lot of things, but Jesus rose from the two crosses, between the two crosses. When we look at a Bible, we also see Lu, and well, it's not how it's spelled, but that's how it sounds. So, which is also a cipher. We also see Lucifer, we see cipher and Lu cipher. So we're dealing with paradigm. So we're dealing with light. When we do a paradigm, a dime is an X, which is a sideways cross. So that's a pair of dimes. And the G can also be silent. So we see dim, dimming the light. And then we also see mid in the middle. Hope you can see that shit. All right. So like mid garden, Garden of Eden, and then garden is also written like dragon. It's how it sounds, not necessarily how it's spelled. It's the angles I connect. And it's interesting to also see ID in there too, which is the 9-4, which is 13. So when we're dealing with 13, the 13th, if we're looking from both sides of the alphabet, we got the A and the Z. was looking at this another way, and all letters, basically the angles point right in all letters except for the Z. Or perhaps the T. I'll look at that again, but so anyway, what I'm getting at is they're both the 13th letter. Now we put the 13 together, we see the B, which is we're doing abracadabra, we're doing movement. We go from 1 to 2. We also see the 33. But anyway, so with the M and the N, I'm going to repeat this. We get that light, we get that pulsation. So with the pulse, we get the pulse. So we know that 2 bull cane is the Facebook sign. There's also 2 bulls. I believe it's got like a symbol here and a symbol here too. Bible, and it's a devil, sounds like double. Devil sounds like double. So we're dealing with duality. And so when I'm getting into the frequencies, is the circle split could also be look like splitting the C, Moses splitting the C. And then it's like midnight here. I felt like doing this. We got a full moon, so let's go. We got dealing with parables too. When a parable are the lessons, which is pairing the bowls. Oh, this shit's so deep. So with Moses, who split the sea, we're also dealing with Moses. So we're dealing with up like sinking of, and sinking is also sinking, like syncretism. So we're dealing with density. So I got a chance to chime in and say how Den is pen, like we write our song, and the riddle is the ripple, and this shit gets so fucking deep, and I'm gonna really get into this because we're dealing with this movement, the beat. So we're dealing with the beat, and if we look at the alphabet, so when we say namaste, the N, namaste, the way to say it is not namaste, it's namaste, like together. Is also we're dealing with the 10 fingers. And the thumb is supposed to be the most high, right? Which, ironically, so you just go like that, and it's a 9 with your fingers. So you're doing vibration. So we're talking about the lions then. We deal with lamb. Lamb is also lame. You can say mal, which is bad. If you look at good as go do, you see odd. This shit gets so deep. So I gotta erase this. But when we get into how the pause symbol equals 11, I'm sorry, is the symbol 11 sideways. It's also the letter K. And if you put the K sideways, it's also the pause symbol. So I'm going to tie a lot of stuff in. 11 equals 9 when you look at doing 5, whatever. The sequence is 12, which is 3, 5, V, which is 4, 22, which is 4. Okay. So when you do it basically by counting each letter, because I've seen a way of doing that with the count 1 is 26 or A is 26 or whatever. I don't really go by stuff. I just go by what I see. I see the connections. So 11 equals 9, 9 equals 6. So We see the movement of the 6 and the 9. We also see the pause symbol, which I was going to do, but I forgot I'm going live. All right, so rock. Gotta laugh at myself. Keeps me from crying. So I was talking about how the pineal gland and the cerebral cortex, we're dealing with copper and carbon because we're electrical beings. So we're dealing with our cells. And in pineal, we see eel, and we can see this in the eel, the copper and the carbon. And that's also how it strikes its prey with the electricity. Oh shit, I'm gonna just get so deep. So dealing with the abracadabra, you could write the A's like this. Because we know it's 11 letters. So here, when you play with this, we see card, playing cards, and Galvi said, if you see Barak, we could also see dark. Could be a play in abracadabra right there. We also see the CD in the center. And the reason I'm doing the A's there, I don't know how that plays these other A's. But I've seen that symbol. I've also seen that symbol too, like that. But so we see the C in the saw. So this is abracadabra written like this. I could write it different ways, but I'm writing it this way so you can see the movement of the seesaw. So we're dealing with light and weight. Which we're dealing with the 8. I gotta go back to my notes. I wrote some deep shit on that one. Light and weight. I'm dealing with the wheel. So I got a chance to chime in and thank Bro Sanchez for checking my Christmas stream because that keeps me going. One of the reasons I became a vegan and started looking more into this energy stuff. I've also been researching. I called in like back in the days talking about chakras being an opposite sequence to the rainbow. I've been fascinated about this stuff. I've been fascinated about since losing friends and stuff like that, about going into the dream world and come up with some unbelievable coping mechanisms. But it's really just tapping into energy, and also I like being able to drop this stuff down because I don't really have anywhere else to shine my information. So this is cool. I get to share this with whoever's checking. So we're dealing with the abracadabra, right? With the C and the saw. So I heard somebody talking about getting lost in whatever past or future. There is no future. We say the past. Past would be like the wake. So we deal with A. We're dealing with awake. Which is the wake is before the funeral. But we also see make. See, we'll switch that. We see make. It's kind of like what you make it. Life is what you make it. And then with the Z, we're dealing with sleep at the end. don't want to lose grip of what I was thinking here. Abracadabra. So with Moses in the center, oh, this shit's so fucking deep. So we deal with the M. Oh my god, it's just so deep. With M body, M body. So rhythm and vowels. Owl. We're dealing with owl. We deal with the elemental. We also see that 10 right here. We know that 10 is the X, right? So we're dealing with a split. Like we have two hands. They're split. Make the 10. This is our duality. Or toes. Touch ground. Ground energy. That's why Pisces is kind of like the 6 and the 9 too. Well, it's Cancer, but it is with the fish. So we got the Omni. We got the Omni. This could be looked at as an L. So many different ways I could scramble this. But we also see the mountain. But so now we're talking about Tesla with energy. How Tesla, shout out LV. Happy Val Day. I'm on late. Made me think of that. Makes me think of lavender with the blue and the red. Think about energy. So we're talking about Tesla, right? We're talking about Moses on the mountain. He got the two tablets, which are the two slates. Slate is also, when we look at slates, Tesla. And then we're also dealing with tails. This could also be looked at tails. They look like tails, the telltales. And then we're also dealing with the two dragons. Two dragons, which could be like the two C's or the two threes. And we know that the two threes together are the 33. So that could also be seen as the two birds. Because we're dealing with stale. They say stalemate in chess. Least. T's. Teal is green. Green is the center. Holy shit, this shit's deep. That's where the heart is. Which is like jade. So jade is deja, like deja vu. You can see jade and deja. That shit is fucking deep. Because what's deep about that is that the opposite of green is magenta. Think about lavender. I think there's different shades, right? But purple, because purple is also red and blue. This makes me think of the octopus that are full moon. No one's checking my channel yet. Well, I'm going to upload this. So Marianas Trench. Got to share a quick story. I met somebody who was on that adventure, and it was like overseas. I had a chance to take some shiitake mushrooms in the movie theater, and we watched Avatar in 3D. It was my boy Mario, and he was going to school, and he wrote a thesis on these worms down there or whatever. I got a chance to watch this documentary later, and that's where like the squid light up or whatever. James Cameron was on that expedition, and I haven't talked to him in like forever, so I'm not like, but now that's making me think. I think about so many people I haven't talked to like that I want to, but I don't want to ramble on here on other stuff. But that was a crazy experience. Well, we're dealing with the Omni. And the owl. So with the owl at the Bohemian Grove, they have the cremation of care. We see the two C's there too. I mean, it could be reaching. And we see it play with the 6 and the 7 too. You know that the G is the symbol, the 6 and the 7. When you look at 6 spelled out, it equals 7. You do 1, 9, 6, 24. It's 1 and 6, 7. You do 7. You see seen split by the V. That could be like UV. I don't know. UV, like what you don't see. You don't see the UV light. And also we're dealing with the curve and the line. If we deal with the UV, I don't know. It's a reach. But if we look at that backwards, we also see seen. We also see knees. You go down your knees. I don't know, because omni is one knee. Or they put G at the center of the compass. So also when you look at like on a map, so also like Psalms. On a map you seek. Damn, this shit's deep too. This is so fucking deep. You know, seek and you should find. Seek, you also see CK, like the C11, which is the C a pause symbol, because all is vibration. So you're dealing with density, because the hand moves quicker than the eye, so we're energy. So however we make up these beings. So when we look at the paradigm, right, the two X's, if you combine those two together, here's one X. Here's another X. You just tilt them this way. You got the number sign. And then the word number, you have like the numb, like comfortably numb, Pink Floyd, like numb. And it's interesting because you could also say like this, numb red. To numb red, to numb, like to numb where you see red, like it, this is deep. One thing that just hit me too, this cat was talking about how sleep, he was seeing reflections. So I said, I was talking about REM. I gotta get another microphone. This one's got a broken whatever jack. So I'm just freestyling here. Might be some background noise. So REM, you know, like frankincense and myrrh. Myrrh sounds like mirror. Oh, this shit gets so fucking deep. This shit gets so fucking deep. Because now, okay, that's why I'm freestyling, because a lot of stuff's coming to me here. So like in the palm of your hands is how you row. So row your boat. You look at like the word power. There's two. We say like it's close. You can say row like R-O. You can spell row like that too. They call fish too. We say T. Y'all is lay. Lay. T, like royalty. So now you know that's electricity, which is also the X. And another way of look at X also sounds like X, like etc. is ETC. So this always makes me think of ET. This cat was talking about abductions and stuff. It's at first we know who we are. You say we, me, also M. Who we embody. The Bodhisattva. Interesting thing about me, it's you could look at this as 2 3s. That's a 33 this way. Me. M is a 33. We is a 33. M in the center. In the middle. It'll's idle. Mod, M-O-D, mod. B-O-M. I mean, okay, so in power, we got row. Seven, 5, which is 12, right? So we got 3, 6, 9, right? So 6 is in the center. 6 also equals 7. So if we look at row like this could be like row 3. 3 is the start. What was the one I said? Red. Got to go back to that. The word I said was red because 3 is the start. Okay. Anyway. We also the 12 could also be like the disciples because we got disc, the 12 discs, the eye poles, the one eye. Omni is the one eye. Poles, and then we also have the LU. Is the 33, or we got the 1221, just like a mirror. The 4, we're dealing with a cube. Could that be the cube? The 4 cube between the two pillars. Reach in there. Lucid. So we look at it's a full moon. So moon, like is Azul, it's a blue moon. Because Azul, it's also Luna. So Azul, when you write the Z sideways, also that, which this is the N is also the center. You got combining with the masculine or with together both forces. That's why it takes on the M. So it makes sense that Lucifer would have to do with the moon. it's elusive. And what makes it so elusive, or whatever, I guess, is that it's right in front of us because we can look at the moon. Like we can't stare at the sun. The moon is like always right there where we can look at it, and that's what makes it like elusive. It's like right in front of us, and we can feel it. I know I can. Like usually I feel like stimulated energy usually when there's a full moon. So also learning about like the influence of planets, because we also see this emanating force in the center of the alphabet with the M and the N. So we're looking at, if we look at it this way, we could be dealing with a 13 and 14 because we're dealing with this constant current split. So different ways that we could bring it together with the 13, with the 33 between the two pillars, which could also be looked at like a ladder. Fuck. You see the two T's there too. Fuck. Anyway, okay. When we look at that, we see the 4 and the 5. I was saying like the Psalms in the Bible has the shortest verse, the longest verse, and it's also the center verse of the Bible. Palms. You don't say the L. It's pronounced palms, I believe. It can be. Anyway, that's what I see. So with the 4 and the 5, also look at it. Or the webs of your fingers are the, so like with consciousness, for me, if I'm ever trying to or when I want to work out or whatever, I get into a zone or put my mind or whatever, my thoughts, to like the extremities, like to my fingertips or my toes, whatever. So and then you kind of like, you get into a zone. So one thing that I'm studying is Kujikiri, um, and some stuff like that I want to study more of actually. So I kind of got to get back into that. I've been looking into this stuff. It's freaking deep. So when you look, like the webs of your fingers have to do with your subconscious. So you can kind of just feel that like in between. And like if you have a headache, you can push right here. So with the 4 and the 5, so we're dealing with like the roof and the floor and the force, 4-leaf clover. I mean, it scrambles into so many different directions, but we're making sense of this here because we're dealing with force. We're dealing with frequencies. So my mindset is, because the world is full of heartache, life is, and it's about riding frequencies, or your peak frequency is to create the ultimate home for yourself, for your energy. It's like home, so you can home in. And I also see this like waves. You also see the V in there too, the W and the A and the E. So I look like a dolphin, try to look like a dolphin. Going down and up, riding both, So it's all about creating that home for your energy. That's how I look at it. And so I also see that as like the one eye is combining those two C's together. you know, and focus. So when we do a hocus pocus, at least we think of symbols like the HP computer, right? But when we write it like this, the P and the H, you know. So I talked about pH balance with the cerebral cortex and the pineal gland. Um, how it's literally like a jump starter, I believe. If I'm digging it, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid because it all makes sense. Everything lines up. So I have been getting into electrical foods and kicking. I've been a vegan for over a year. I've been a vegetarian for just like a year before that. Actually, that's a lie because I was off and on. But the more I learn and the more I feel about it, awesome. Like the more I keep going, I feel awesome. I can't see how I'd ever eat like put dead flesh inside a living organism. So I started learning things about protein, and I think I just found some creatine I had from back in the days. I just threw out because that your kidneys are supposed to produce creatine. And anything you put in the lab is create like mucus on a cellular level or compromising your cells. So your cells are responsible for your energy, just like a battery. Anything in nature, I took notes from Dr. Sebi. Anything in nature from makes from 7 to 9.6, and anything below that is acidic and has to do with our influence. So there's a lot of different opinions. Like I don't relate myself to a polar bear because of my ancestry, and you know other people as gorillas or whatever. I see we all relate. Alkalinity is true to all living beings that look at us like flowers. Um, I don't want to say dogs, but I'm thinking of my dog too because I love her. Anyway, so here we go. How can you make in the lab a vitamin or substance that will help me biologically or physiologically? If you could do that, you're God. Only nature or God makes something electrical. There are 142 minerals on the planet that come in the form of a rock, but that rock also has a plant that's representative of that mineral. The plant, by sending its roots into the soil, it converts that solid rock into a liquid digestible substance. Scientists call this process iontophoresis, which can only be accompanied by a plant, not a laboratory. You cannot take a piece of rock that is iron into a laboratory and get a liquid form that is going to be digestible, because now it becomes non-electrical, and when you drink it, it is pre-digested for you electrically. So minerals are expressed in two forms: phosphates and oxides. Oxides are what are in the rock. The only thing that can convert that for a human in a liquid digestible substance is plants. So I did my own studies on cannabis as a grower, and I've learned a lot actually from my own experience with alkalinity, and also the human body has endocannabinoid receptors in our skeleton. So I was a distributor for a little bit. Don't know, I have a business card over here, but whatever. Have to take my word for it. Before CBD like went everywhere, there was like a year where I had a chance to sell it like independently, like to hook like store people who wanted to sell it where it was legal before like big pharma got in. So I had to study a lot of stuff, and actually THC is one of the healthier components in cannabis. So it's actually THC is one of the healthier. Anyway, so when it comes to cellular stuff, so starch blocks iron, And there's like good starch and bad starch, but the bad starch that turns to carbonic acid, starch like from cane sugar has more starch than any other substance, and that turns to carbonic acid. So we're told about protein as amino acids, which are basically different patterns of acids. And it seems like, the shit I'm learning is like I'm going by my own. I'm feeling healthier. Um, Before I used to not. I used to think you have to eat like you got to get like a piece of chicken in there. You got to have like eggs or something, or be like these weightlifters taking raw eggs. You know what I mean? You see all this stuff, but it's like wicked unhealthy. And usually, if it smells bad or whatever, you should go with your senses. So, Dr. Sebi speaking on carbon and copper producing electricity. This is what I was looking for right here. The only thing that produces electricity is the friction of carbon and copper. That can be seen in your automobile. Take out your generator and see what it has inside. It has a copper wheel and some carbon brushes that touch against when turned. Here's an example. He picks up a copper wheel. This is the copper wheel in the generating plant that produces the electricity we have in this room. It is spinning at only 90 RPM, but against this copper wheel, there are carbon brushes that cause a friction. This friction is called resonance. Resonance is electricity, not electrons. Resonance. The resonance produces the electrons, not before. Then where do we go in the human body and find the organ that produces electricity? You find that is the brain. The central nervous system is the conduit. The brain is the center of motor that carries the electricity to various points of the body to cause motion. Now, shall we ask what is the composition of the brain? My notes were a little bit weird there. Okay, so no, it is made up of what? Carbon and copper. The pineal gland is carbon, the cerebral cortex is copper. We not only find that in human beings, we find it in the eel in Brazil that produces electricity to kill its prey. And when you open the eel, all you find is copper and carbon, no melanin. So I disagree on the gene predisposition theory that he has, but he was spot on with his everything. So what the hell is that? So with the eel, so when you look at pineal, you see eel in pineal. Shit. Because when you look at pine, crazy too. And pine too, you also see dying. Which we feed our. This is so deep. We feed ourselves with our thoughts. That's why breathing is so important, and just mindfulness. And Faye Tat Nahan said that another reason for being vegan is cultivating the energy of compassion. So when I talk about thought, too, we're talking about energy. So the most physical way we get our energy is from food, which is fuel, but so are our thoughts, water. So when we talk about water, this shit's fucking deep. Just like the meditation of the cloud, like the water, the cloud is always something. It never goes away. So the water, mindful of like the water we drink, what kind of water. There's something real to that. And then we look at So we're told Dr. Doriel. Dr. Doriel. It says do real. Like a movie, I guess. Or we could say real. He found the emerald tablets. The emerald, we're doing green, like the green city. So green is the center, like the heart, like the M and the N. See, that's a heartbeat. And we know it's art when we're dealing with negative and positive. We know it's a rat race, but it's also art dealing with this rat race. The H is silent. The H is the 8. The H is the 8. And we're also dealing with a line. So that's the wand. That's the 1. That's the wand. 0. 0 equals 1, but that's also the ripple. We have no and we have on. Rhythm has no vowels. Zero equals 1. So Dr. Doriel translated the emerald tablets of Thoth. So Thoth could be looked at as thought, and we looked at thought. We're also dealing with hot. We're dealing with hot and cold. We're also dealing with that thaw, the T. We're dealing with water, we're dealing with watts, like electricity. Notice that watt has 2 T's of watt. Damn. This shit's so fucking deep. When you meditate, I can show you some shit like so I wanted to get some of those notes in while I saw that. Cause that's a side project I'm doing is working on being an herbologist. I'm really getting into it actually. It's pretty cool. I'm into like tea and stuff. I want to grow, like start my own garden. So where I was at here, I know I just chimed in at the very end of Bro Sanchez's show. I didn't want to steal the mic because everybody's trying to get their piece in. So I just want to say thank you for checking my Christmas stream. I think you had me mixed up with the other Renegade dude, but it's all love. You know, because I spelled my channel's Renegade. I don't have space, but I'll just go Renégade. Renégade, like energy, generating energy, the green energy, you know. So that's what it's all about. Sharing things that I see that help, and anybody, hopefully, anybody watches this can also pick up on what I'm putting down here. So we look at green, makes me think about the Grim Reaper and reappear. But when I was talking about Bro Sanchez, I want to get into because what you said was willpower, wheel power. Talking about Ezekiel's wheel. So Ezekiel, we see sequel. So it's dealing with these ripples. And then with the wheel could also be like meal. So this is what I'm getting at. With the willpower is the orange. I don't want to get too crazy here. It's full moon, so right and proper. So say orange. So we look at orange. You know, that makes me think of Clockwork Orange, Stanley Kubrick, film The Moon Landing. We also have orange. So orange, why would orange be symbiotic with orange? Uh, Damn, you see range too, zero range. Dealing with that focus. So no, Ophiuchus was the 13th sign. I mean, this could be looked at as the 13th here too. That's a reach, but so because orange is willpower, right? So the chakra for orange has to do with willpower. So when we talk about will, we see the symbolism with the arrow. You know, the pharaohs, so dealing with that pH. You see like pheromones. So we see arrow. But also froze up for a second. I forgot what I was saying. Pharaoh. We also see far. Okay. Doing with the feather. Oh, quill and arrow. So you could write quill like will. Doing with that willpower. It's a quill and arrow. Doing with that willpower. So the quill is the feather that helps direct the arrow. And then so what I was getting at before with the electricity of the M and the N that beat. We look at the 4 and the 5. It's interesting too, like M. So M is 13, right? Which equals 4. You can see that, you know, old numbers used to just be like this. They weren't dot. I mean, we have different ways of looking at that. But when you look at the M, it's also 1, 2, 3, 4. And then when you look at another way of writing 4 is like this. But you see N, because N is also 13 going that direction. I mean, this is more than coincidences. They call it ironic because when you do iron, you're dealing with magnetism. So magnetism has to do with syncretism or whatever. So then we're dealing with movement. So Moses is dealing with movement because he split the sea. We're dealing with motion. So we're doing M motion, doing the M in the ocean, which we're doing the free queen of the sea. All right, I gotta take 2 seconds. I think I'll be going this late, but like kind of riding the wave, like I'm going out here. Azul, blue, azul. So we look at Zool, we got that A to Z, and then we got B, like to be or not to be. This is just playing with the languages here. And then, if you write the B backwards, we're doing ebb, like to ebb and flow, to ebb and flow. And then we look at like, okay, I was going to say something I already said. Shit. Okay, yeah, talking about the future. So the promised land, this has to do with the promised land or whatever. To me, that has to do with like the future, seeking the promised land. Because if you look at seek, we also see keys. And the keys is on like the key to the map. The map key is like how to read the map, which makes me think about like the global deceptions and all that. So seeking the promised land, promises are lies. So I don't promise shit. R&B song, I promise to be true. That energy is true. I don't know what was going through my mind there, but I do with energy. Whoa. Okay. So, also the 10th letter, talk about the fisher of men, is the J, which also looks like a fish hook. That's the 10th letter. Which 10, we're dealing with also the net. You catch fish in a net, which is also 10. And then we got the 7, basically, from the 5-2. Anyway. So this shit's deep right here. Damn. I saw this. You get the word level. See 13. Like I said about like in the word 7, when you write out 7, you see scene, split. So we go V. Sparking a lot of stuff in my head here. So we see. And that could also be so that could be looked at as 2 13s. It could also be looked at 2 4s. So when you look at like the 4-leaf clover, we look 4s. The 2 4s is the force. Because we're dealing with a force of positive, force of negative. What do you do it for? I got some more stuff I'm going to save on that one. Oh, shit. So we're talking about magnetism. This is crazy. I gotta do something where I got more energy because it's like after midnight. But we do it like ET, talking about ET. So now we are into the Chinese year of the water tiger, which I'm on the cusp of fire and water. So I don't know what that means. I'd like to find out. So I don't know if anybody's into astrology stuff, but also I gotta find some stuff out. So here, I'm talking about 13, do with like 13, like Doors, the Doors album, The Doors of Perception, Aldous Huxley. when you look at like the M and the W, like a reflection, because the M and the N take on the, that's also like the Z. If you look at the reflection, it's the same, but you get the okay, two birds. So that's the two birds. Anyway, damn, that's sloppy. Here we go. So when we look at, oh my God, I got so much fire here. All right, so when you look at like 4-2, when you look at the symbol, if you write 4, you write a 4 this way, like that's a 4. You write a 4 this way, that's a 4. You write a 4 upside down, that's a 4. You write a 4 that way, that's a 4. Dealing with 4 4s. So we look at force. So that's just like a spinning wheel. And then you gotta see that shit. 4. Just go 4. 4 this way. 4 this way. So that's also 12, like the 12 disciples, 12 disciples, whatever. Or it could be the 3, tree of life, which we're also dealing with. 3 is the C. The C. So we're dealing with frequency. So, talking about the tiger with the ET, that makes me think of the eye of the tiger. The eye of the tiger. They don't say eyes. Why isn't they don't say eyes? Eye. They say what, like the eye of the tiger. Which makes me think of together. But it's interesting too, in the center we got the heart. When you think of like the word love, love means equal in tennis. We're thinking about that 10, like entity, love. And you also got volley for serve, or volleyball, pass the ball back and forth. The V. Also the 3. That's what I'm getting at here. That's what I'm getting at. You get the 3. Different ways of looking at this. So with the ET, also makes me think of etymology. The Y is quiet. It's like etymology. So we're talking about Moses and osmosis and syncretism. Sync, we're also doing with sync, like sync. We also have ink. Sin paused. Because I look at that K symbol as that pause symbol now. I like that. Damn. Which is shining. Shine, like shines. Sin is shine. Like in Scottish, my grandma was from Scotland, and she's sin, Old Lang Syne, SYN. That what they say, like for shine. Dealing with the lion heart too. Lion heart. We're dealing with the line. lion heart. So the lion is the wand that creates the energy. You could look at this as the bullseye, which is pull. Bull is pull. Which I wonder if pull has anything to do with blue. Because that has to do, this is what makes me think that, because we're dealing with like maybe positive and negative, but shadows are perceived as black, but shadows are actually blue. That's one thing I remember. Like, I just remember, like, the way my brain is, like, I'll remember interesting shit. Like, I never paid attention to a lot of stuff in school, but, like, stuff that sparks my interest, I remember. Um, so, shadows are actually blue. So, maybe take a pull. Fall leaf for service, circuits. I'm given a circus. It's like a circus. Bunch of notes on the Zuni. I'm going to get into that, how they perceive the different worlds from the world we're in. We're in the third world or fourth world. But they also relate these to colors. What I'm getting at is the synchrotism and things I see in similar and different religions. But we're dealing with the elemento too. This shit's fucking deep because elemento P, the P is also a D. So we're dealing like that domino from that wand. You know, they say wander, red. So red and read, we're doing all that presents as the past, like the see and the saw. You see or you saw. So the future is like a imagine, because it's always see and saw. Like the seesaw. Which is why I wrote abracadabra like that. Let's see. This shit's so fucking deep. It's like just when I'm running out, I see like little notes I wrote. Damn. All right, I gotta get into this while I'm on the alphabet thing, and I'm out. So, me and my dog just did the same thing. I just went, and she went, oh. All right, so this shit's so fucking deep. When you look at Baphomet, fuck. So we're dealing with time, with the C and the saw and frequency. You know, we look at moves like in time. Squeeze that in. Tyrant. Okay. In time with Justin Timberlake, which also can be seen as Red Lake, like Lake of Fire. But just in time. Justin Timberlake in time is the movie. And we see Red Lake in the name, like Lake of Fire. So that would be the starting point of, or that would be the propulsion. That would be the propulsion doing red, which is interesting because we're given stop signs as red, and red is used to act like bulls on. Think about the symbology with bulls, because then we got bulbs. Because with bulls, we're also thinking of bulbs, like light bulbs, and also flowers. Flowers come in bulbs. Like so, flower. Not only do we have flow, we have row. So we got row, and then in power, we also got row. You know, we roll with our palms. At least think about reading palm. Anyway, so this shit's so deep. So check the movie In Time with Justin Timberlake. Trying to make that legible. All right, hopefully. So I'm like wicked tired right now, but I don't feel like going to sleep. Sometimes like the moon's full moon, I'm like that. I'm like half sleepwalking right now. So we got going into Baphomet. Damn, I saw this shit. It's interesting they use like the bath as a symbology too. Well, look at Baphomet. Dealing with that pH with the hocus pocus and the which is that 7 and the 8, which is the 15, which is the 6. Then I'm sorry, 7 and 8, 15, which is the 6. And F is the 6. So we have this play with 6. But the BA, we're doing the abracadabra. Fomet, that made me think of fire with that red lake. I got red eyes right now. Alright, so let's go. Baphomet. This shit is fucking crazy. So when you look at the symbols, you see splitting the seas, splitting the sea between light and dark. Now check this. When we look at the beat of the center, and we look at this like a reflection, not only do we see that play with a W, do that the right way, damn. Flip it. Working on this, working on it. The other way. Whatever, you can see the end. It's got the W in the end. So now we got the 3 triangles up and down. The symbology, right? Like 3 pyramids almost. When we look at that, this shit's so fucking deep. That's one way of writing it. Damn. Okay. It's 2 different ways of doing it. We could do it like this. M, N. But now we're doing, if that was a hinge, if this was like a hinge, we were to put it this way, it would be it would be the other way around with the arrows. And then where it starts and where it leaves. We might have took cursive out of language. So not only do we see the owl, which the owl, you know, the owl eyes. It's interesting, they're owl eyes, and you got allies. at the cremation of care where they make all these decisions. I wrote this somewhere. It's not here. Okay, so when you write it this way, tilt it to the side, like the 7. The 7 is also a quarter turn because the 2.5, what is it, 0.25 is a quarter. Like that hidden 7, you turn it a quarter turn. M, N, and we should see the reflection this way. Pay attention to how he's sitting. And then you got the horns at the top of the head. And you see how we're dealing with the light and the dark. We're dealing with the reflections. So I see I'm going for over an hour here. No one's checked this yet, but I hope somebody sees this. I got more stuff to drop soon, but I'll probably try this in if I get a chance to get my mic. The Elemento, it makes Domino, the Minnow, Minoans. So it says 0 equals 1. You know, 0 is the focus. You know, the hocus pocus. Anyway, I know I said that before, but I'm going to get more into this as I go. About as far as I can go by myself here talking. I want to get tie more of this together. If anyone's checking, appreciate you. Renégade. To the next. Catch you on the flip.